You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
NBC News Radio.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for staying tuned and coming back with us here to the BizNinja Radio Hour. This is your host, Tyler Jorgensen, and very excited to welcome to the show today Craig Hanley and Tony Riccardi, CEO and President of Listen Up Español. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hey, how are you?
Doing great. And so I know I've actually met you, Craig. I'm not sure if I ever met Tony. But I actually won a photo contest that you guys did at the D2C show a little while back.
Yeah, you had a great picture with our wrestlers.
Yes, and I love that you guys did such a unique booth, and I think it's going to come. I'm going to learn why you do things different than other people as we talk. You guys had a couple of midget wrestlers doing a photo booth, and it was just great. So I had to go all in and do a handstand and have them throw me around.
Did you get the top prize yet? Did you receive your tequila?
I did. I'm waiting for the right time to share it with some friends. So
awesome.
Thanks for sending that out. And so, guys, I love this concept of a code of awesomeness. And I want to get to that, but I want to learn a little bit about you guys. So, Craig, tell me a little bit about your start in business doing, door-to-door sales.
Yeah, it kind of started when I got fired from any real job that I had. I always thought I was smarter than the people I was working with, so
How
it doesn't
funny.
always go over so well.
No.
I realized I was an entrepreneur and started doing some door-to-door sales and was really good at it.
Uh-huh.
And wanted more. And so I was struggling to find my place and ended up in a call center as an agent on the telephones.
Right.
And out of almost 1,000 employees in this big center, I was one of the top 3 guys in the company. And as people who have entrepreneurial spirits go, I started kind of thinking outside the box as to where I might be able to, grow and make more money and do some really cool things. And on the back end of every phone call, there's advertising space.
Right.
And I decided to buy that advertising space, for $10 and sell it for $16.
Huh.
And started selling products and services on the back end of phone calls that had nothing really to do with the call that people were calling in for.
Right.
And it ended up working out pretty good, and I grew that business a little bit, and there was a lot of headaches along the way and learning that I really wasn't equipped to deal with a lot of the things entrepreneurs need to deal with, merchant accounts and
right.
actually having to run a checkbook and payment processing and customer. There's just a list. And,
sure.
And so I kind of, from there, just moved into more of a consulting role with other companies.
Uh-huh.
And Tony and I, met, I think it's going on 13 years. Maybe
Okay.
It's only 11, but I don't know. Tony. It's been a while. It's been a good trip. And he, I'm the kind of the creative idea, but implementation, I realized what I'm not good at. And Tony came along, and he was just an awesome implementer. And all of a sudden, we had the fire and the ice that we needed to make things work. So, from the door-to-door sales, I kind of moved into this selling to a lot more people. It was really fast-paced, exciting, and then Tony and I kind of, in the consulting business, we were talking to a lot of our clients, and they said, what the world needs? They need a place to send Spanish-speaking phone calls.
Huh.
And that's kind of how we developed into the concept of Listen Up Español.
So and so tell me a little bit, and maybe Tony, you can talk as the great implementer. Give us a brief overview of what Listen Up Español is.
We're a call center, an inbound, outbound call center right now that communicates or takes calls specifically for the U.S. Hispanic market, whether it be customer service calls, and we really cut our teeth in specializing in the psychology of selling and taking sales calls.
Okay.
So the majority of the business when we started 5 years ago with 20 seats. Now we're up to 550 seats.
Wow.
And over 800 agents. Sometimes we're around 1,300 agents. But the majority of the calls that we take are people that are calling in to purchase a product. The exciting thing is that this year our big initiative is to diversify outside of just communicating via the phone, but is to create an online environment where we're engaging with the U.S. Hispanics online as well.
Wow, very cool.
The internet or on their mobile devices.
Wow, so you guys are, you're continuing to make big things happen. Craig, so now that, you went through those learning experiences, right, that all of us entrepreneurs do, which we realize we can't do everything. And it's a great point to finally get to that point. How did you start deciding what things you were going to make happen and what things you could let go of?
Sorry, I had a laugh on that one.
Yeah,
right, Craig.
This must have this is a ongoing challenge, I'm guessing.
It's funny because Tony and I, we kind of go back and forth, and we're both extremely passionate. The one thing, number one, I think as an entrepreneur, you got to realize you're not going to be good at everything.
Right.
What are your strengths? If you're looking in the mirror, find out where your strengths are, and don't be afraid to passionately go after what your strengths are. When I'm at a sales floor, I could take over a room if we're at a conference. I'm a good negotiator. I know what I'm good at. I'm great with ideas. I could sit down and look at a business process or look at somebody's business.
Right.
And I could probably give them $50,000 worth of consulting and $1 million worth of ideas in about an hour and a half. Can I implement on all those ideas? Absolutely not. I need a team of awesome people around me. And I realized this is who I am. And so by finding out who Tony is, the one thing, and of course selecting a business partner is a whole new series of challenges as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
One thing Tony and I learned is that we have the same core values, the same heart, and the same soul and the same passion for the business, but we both had a unique set of skills that could portray one against the other to deliver kind of a tandem. The Wonder Twin Powers activate from the Justice League cartoons. I'm giving away my age, aren't I?
That's all right.
That's kind of, the story there.
But we've talked about that a little bit already, that you got to recognize what you're not good at. And I love the old saying that, to be really successful, you need to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. And, maybe it's not always smarter. It's really that can do the things that you're not great at. Because you've got to have people that can do each of those components, and no one person can do them all and do them effectively. So, Tony, what were some of the challenges as you guys started 5 years ago, as you guys started building the business?
What was kind of cool when we started, we knew what we wanted to be when we grew up.
That's good.
We grew up really quick. And one of the challenges, the biggest challenge that we had was technology, to be honest with you. Some people would think that would probably be the language barrier, seeing that we have the largest center servicing this vertical.
Right.
And Craig and I still don't, speak Spanish. But we were able to, communicate with a really good team of bilingual executives that we grew from the very beginning when we started and are still with us today.
Oh, wow.
So the people and the core of who we are is one of the things that allowed us to pull us through a lot of the challenges that we had. I keep on saying technology was one in the call center business, managing call volume and call flows and answering as many calls as you can. The financial model, managing that in the beginning, trying to be bigger than what we were when we started. That was difficult. I think those are probably some of the core things that we started with that were challenging.
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges was we grew so fast that when we kind of went in the opposite direction, when we actually saw, one of our big clients brought their product to retail and they slowed down on their media buys.
Oh.
And we had managed the growth okay, but we had never managed, a business that needed to kind of go in the opposite direction.
Oh, you hadn't gone through a slowdown yet, right?
No, so we had 1,200 agents and we really needed, $600.
Oh, that's tough.
And so our if you look at a percentage of revenue to your overall payroll costs, we were all of a sudden, when we were operating at a 30% of our revenue going to payroll, it jumped up to over 65%.
Wow.
And of course, your fixed costs go up as well. So we actually made Inc. 500 as the fastest growing private company. And ironically, when they were handing out the award, we were basically kind of in a rebuilding stage of the business, which it was kind of ironic, and
yeah.
Of course, I'm proud to say that we made the Inc. list again last year, so we
Awesome.
managed through that. But that was one of the biggest challenges was, holy cow, now what,
Yeah, and
the challenge with that was also we weren't really clear on what our critical numbers were that we needed to be watching. So through that cycle, we really had to dive really deep into the business to determine what are those numbers that we have to manage and create reports and systems that allows us to manage those.
And I was just talking about that before the commercial break about how we've got to use basically analytics in all aspects of our business and even in our life to see what's working, what's not working, what can be improved. And so you had to do that on a kind of a big scale. And it's true, we often don't think about how a business, we just hope that it's going to grow linearly and that it's going to be one step, add the next brick, build the next brick, one step at a time. But sometimes you've got to take a few bricks back. Now, you guys have this great code of awesomeness, which I want you to tell us about, but how did it affect, you obviously had to make some really tough decisions. Did it challenge some of your core values during that time where you had to, downsize a little bit?
No, we lived by our core values. We actually, took a big hit on revenue in order to live by our core values.
Very cool.
We were very transparent with everybody, which is one of the things we believe in.
Uh-huh.
Transparency, I think, is a big deal, and if you have nothing to hide, then there's nothing to compromise.
Right.
So we were transparent with our team, with our agents, with our employees, with our clients, and I think it really helped us. Culture and core values. The reason a lot of people don't do them soon enough is because it's a payoff. When you're making an investment in the stock market, a lot of times you don't expect to pull your money out for 5 to 20 years.
Right.
Culture is kind of like that.
Sure.
It doesn't really pay off, until you're about 2 to 3 years into it. And then you kind of see what having that culture and that core value can do for you. And because we had achieved the impossible as one of our core values, we were able to overcome anything that came our way. Because we have lived life like an extreme sport as one of our values, we had no fear in reinvesting into the business when we needed to, even to the point where if we were going to have to borrow money, we weren't afraid to do it.
That's good. So give me a brief overview, or not brief, I don't care. I want to learn about it. So tell me about just what is this this mission statement, this banner that you guys have that you kind of use, what is this code of awesomeness?
So the code of awesomeness, our core value, and it's supported by, our mission statement is supported by 7 core values, which is our code of awesomeness.
Got it.
But our mission statement is to deliver awesomeness. And the whole goal around awesomeness is what we want to have happen is we want our clients in interacting with us to say, wow, that was awesome. And to do that, what we've had to do within our organization is make sure every individual, from the agent on the phones to the client services person to the managers, each one of those people had to be clear in knowing what they should be doing on a daily basis to provide awesomeness for our client's greatest asset, which is their customer. The other thing we wanted to do is pioneer the way communication exists between marketers and the Spanish-speaking market. So we're always creating innovative solutions that make us top of mind when people look to communicate with that market.
Okay.
So that's the mission statement. And then behind that, it's supported by the 7 core values that we've talked about. So we've touched on some of them.
Yeah, you touched on a couple
grow brain
of them.
cells.
Right. What does that mean?
So, grow brain cells?
Yeah.
Everybody in the organization is responsible for teaching everybody else whatever they can to help them grow as human beings. One of the things you learn as an entrepreneur is at some point, everybody around you, you feel like you know more than everybody around you. And there's nobody that can help you,
right.
At least in your specific field. I don't mean that there aren't people who know a lot more, but
sure.
In what you're trying to do, you've run out of resources. And we've joined a few groups. One of them is called Maverick business entrepreneurs, and we've gotten involved with the Gazelles and a few other groups where you get some mentors who have been through it, been there, done it. You know, they show you exactly how to go from 3 to 5 million to 10 million to 20 million to 50 million. And that's growing brain cells. It's when you're doing things right, share that with everybody else. You know, and as you go through a learning curve, you want to sign non-competes and you want to sign NDAs. And it's not about the NDA. Growing brain cells is about sharing everything that you have and giving it away as quickly as you can and knowing that it's going to come back to you tenfold.
I like it. That's an interesting take on the law of the harvest or on karma. But basically, you know, paying it forward, all those concepts. But I mean, those concepts exist in so many different, you know, forms because they tend to be true. And so, how did you come up with these 7? Was there a big, you know, retreat or big meeting?
You want to talk about the process, Tony?
Yeah, we ended up working. We were fortunate enough to meet with Janet and Chris Atwood, who had published a bestseller called The Passion Test.
Okay.
And what the Passion Test does is it's got a very simple formula in it, or a system, that anybody can go through, that's why it's such a good book. But we actually applied the personal way of determining what your core passions are from a personal side to a corporate side. And the way in doing that is determining or creating a great list as far as what you're passionate about, what's the fire in the belly, what are the things that at the core that just don't change in who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And we did that with our managers and our executives, and Craig and I went down to the center, and we spent a week determining what those were. And what you do, once you have your list, is you go through the list, and you ask yourself, is it growing brain cells, which is the most important thing to me, or is it playing life as an extreme sport? And we went through that exercise, and we broke it down to determine which was the most important one for us, and we determined that it was also best just to have 5 or 7 on our list of core values that we could remember and actually base a lot of our corporate decisions on those values. And It was more of a process that we went through,
right?
But it was a process that we included the whole company in.
You know, and so it sounds like you've really done a good job in keeping employees on board. I mean, it sounds like you have, you know, a management team that's still in place. You know, how do you make sure that they stay happy, you know, as you guys grow? How do they get to keep growing?
Well, one of the things that is important is that you hire based on your core values. You've got to do everything in line with your values. Again, it's a 2 to 3 year payoff. And you've really got to prove to your employee base that you mean what you say. So, for example, we wanted to live life like an extreme sport, and we wanted to live that value. So what we decided to do is to go crazy and to put a car out as an incentive. I mean, It's great to win a car in the U.S., but when you win a car in Mexico, it's unheard of.
Right.
And then we said, you know, that's not really delivering awesomeness. That's cool. What if we gave a car away every 2 months?
Oh, wow.
And so we give 6 cars away to our employees, and it's done, you know, through basically, you know, the agents all have a chance to win it, you know, all of our different agents. And it's become every 2 months we have a big barbecue and a big celebration, and it's very cool. Another one of our core values is going beyond ourselves. Tony and I are committed to giving $1 billion away to charity.
That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money.
Yeah. So what we did is we worked with the Forrester Research, and they're conducting a study, and we said we want to participate, where we gave our employees a pay raise, and we tracked the performance increase.
Right.
And then we gave them a pay raise, but it didn't go to them. It went to charity. And we tracked the increase in performance, and we did it. We filled a truck full of food and toys, and just before Christmas went out to the outskirts of different towns in Mexico and just gave it all away.
Wow. And so, you know, is the study done? Did one of the two perform better?
The study, we're just wrapping up the results. I don't have the results. Do you, Tony? I know they were doing it this week.
Well, what's your gut? I mean, what did you see? Were the employees happy with seeing their bonus and their raise go to, you know, benefit those less fortunate?
you'd think that they weren't. And performance, I know for a fact performance did increase during both faucets of the study. I'm not sure which one outnumbered the other. But no, the employees are happy to help other people.
That's great.
You know, there's a lot of research and data out there today about not only compensating people, but finding what's on the inside. Daniel Pink's books Drive, Punishment by Rewards by Alfie Kohn. There's a lot of research out there that says sometimes we might be doing too much with money.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think the other benefit behind that, I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's okay.
Is, in the study is we did have a slight increase in the performance for the charity side of for the study, but more importantly, I think we also did a survey, and the employees they felt better in working with a company that was embracing a way to give back for a greater good.
Okay.
And we were talking earlier about, if you want to call it karma or just freely giving unconditionally. It's just one of those things that is part of our company, is to continue to do that, and that's one of the ways we do it.
Okay.
One of our new programs we're looking at this year, we were introduced this recently to John Ratliff, who owns a company called Apple Tree Answers.
Okay.
And John instituted a program called Dream On. And how the Dream On program works is that every single one of your employees gets to submit a dream. And in his business, he honors and helps 4 to 5 dreams per month get committed. And so we're actually looking to institute that within our company, where you submit a dream, and you institute dreams for your employees. And sometimes it's somebody needs something from a medical situation, or sometimes they're getting evicted. But he said it's become one of the most awesome programs that he's ever done. He said one of his employees, they have another program called the Santa Hotline that they do for children, where they can call in and just leave a message to one of Santa's elves.
Right.
And he said what happened this past Christmas is a little girl called in and she said, what I'd really like to have happen for Christmas is my friend David, he has cancer, and I'd like this to be his best Christmas ever. And he said the employee that took the call gave up her dream for this child David and said, what I want to do for my dream is to make this kid David have the best Christmas ever. And the entire company rallied around it, and they made this kid David have the best Christmas ever because of the Dream On program.
That's really cool.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's like you're absolutely right. There's a ton of research that actually is showing that just throwing more money at people can often just create a culture of spoiled adults, rather than people that are driven around any sort of core. And there was one really interesting study on insurance agents, where they'd been selling one type of insurance, and they were given this really big bonus if they would sell life insurance. And they all felt so guilty about it that no one sold it. And so they finally took the money away and just asked them to continue offering it, and sales went back up. And so there's a lot of psychology behind, how we motivate people. And so I think, the biggest thing that my takeaway from talking with you guys is that, someone that's growing a business has to know what their values are and has to make sure that people who are coming into the business share those values. And I think we've hit on most of them. But tell me about embracing and driving change.
Go ahead, Tone. I've done a lot of talking.
I know, you love doing that. Embracing and driving change, that's one of the other things when we first started the business was embracing change. And the change in the market was working on the opportunity of nobody's actually working in the Hispanic market.
Okay.
So, it was something that one of the things that we had to, as a company, as employees, embrace and actually be innovators. And creating change is the other thing that we're looking to do. There's a big initiative this year on the interactive side of our company. Is, being the innovators and wanting to be the pioneers and being challenged and stretching ourselves, to learn and grow and create that vertical for ourselves as well.
That's great. Change is one of the things that we always think it's easy, and at the beginning of a business it is, but once we start having success and once things are moving, sometimes complacency can sneak up on us. So it's great that you guys are, setting some big goals and still keeping that enthusiasm after 5 years of, healthy growth.
I think the other thing that helps drive our growth, and that I think every entrepreneur should do, is Tony and I both wrote out our, they call it the painted picture. Okay. And essentially, when you start a business, we all have a dream as to what we want our business to be.
Uh-huh.
And we wrote out, what we wanted our business to be. We wrote it out 10 years, we wrote it out 5 years, and then we wrote it out 3 years. And I've already written my 100th birthday speech, too. All the things I wanted to do, all the people I wanted to meet, all the crazy stuff. But Tony and I both took a swing at our painted picture. What do we want the business to look like in 3 years? What do we want it to look like in 5 years? If the New York Times is writing an article on us, what did it look like in 10 years? And we wrote it as if these are the things we've already done.
Right.
Now this process is just executing. And what that does is you get everybody within your company sharing the same vision, and everybody starts to pull things together. And what's ironic, what's unbelievable, is that everything that we wanted to do just starts to fall into place for us because everybody shares the same vision.
Right.
It's just amazing how that works.
Yeah, you're not trying to steer a ship 180 degrees. You're just making minor adjustments as you're moving along, and that's huge. I think and that's why you're able to gain momentum faster than others many times, is because you're making small adjustments rather than massive shifts and try to do recorrects and things like that happens in a place that doesn't have strong culture. One of my favorite quotes is, without vision, a people perish. And it sounds like you've done a really good job of creating a vision within a company that that and so you're doing the opposite of perishing, which is awesome.
We love our employees, we love our company, and we love the opportunity we've been given. We also know that with great success comes great responsibility, and we're trying to make sure we pay it back.
It's awesome. So let's go, Tony, and then Craig on this question. We've done a lot of talk about business and how it's growing and the challenges and the rewards of all that. But, Tony, what's one major thing on your personal painted picture, your personal bucket list, that you want to do here in 2012?
I want to have a better, my thing this year is to have a better work-life balance.
Okay.
That's probably one of my challenges as we continue to grow the company is to maintain an integrated lifestyle versus a work, family, spiritual lifestyle.
Gotcha.
I've got plans this year to be able to work on bringing those together.
I've got a really good article
on that. That's my big goal this year is to have an integrated lifestyle.
It's a very healthy goal and important for anyone in business. I'm going to forward you an article once we're off air on that topic that I think you'll really enjoy. What about you, Craig? Is there a big bucket list item for 2012?
I wrote an album, and I've got a second album, and it's under CR Groove.
Okay.
And one of my big bucket list items is I'm looking forward to meeting Andy Samberg this year. I know I'll make that happen. Whether I have to go to Saturday Night Live and stand outside or what have you. And I'm going to meet Paul McCartney February 10th. I'm going to his Lifetime Achievement Award dinner out in L.A.
Very cool.
So, I had a couple of things regarding the arts, that were big life goals for me. And of course, 2 vacations a year I have 4 kids, and I feel like it's important that I spend quality time with them, and I do my best to do that, and I think I'm pretty successful at it.
Awesome.
But I wanted to commit to having 2 family vacations with them each year to make sure that I was honoring my commitment. I think one of the biggest things I've learned as an entrepreneur, somebody said this to me at one point, they said, when you have children, the man that you are is the man your boys are going to become and the man your girls are going to marry. So if you have anger issues, your daughter's going to date a guy who yells at her and bullies her. Is that the man you want to be for your children? So I work hard at trying to be a good parent, too.
That's great. I also have 4 kids, and so that's good advice for me, and so I appreciate that. You guys, thank you both for coming on the show. When you do come out here to the L.A. area, let me know. We'll grab lunch or something. But I wish you much continued success with Listen Up Español, and we'll see you. I'm sure we'll cross paths again here in the future.
Awesome. And if anybody wants to learn more about our company,
yes, please.
Listen Up Español, ESPANOL.com. And if somebody goes onto YouTube, we have the LUE TV channel. So it's LUE TV, where they can actually see some different videos. They can see some of the car giveaways.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, we've got a couple of the car giveaways up there, and you can see how the employees rally around each other. Just really proud of the people down there and what they've been able to do.
It's very great. It's very good, real-world things that are happening in business right now. When a lot of other businesses are struggling to find culture, you guys have created a great one. So, yeah, anyone looking out for more information, listenupespanol.com or check out the YouTube channel. What is it again, one more time?
It's LUETV.
LUETV. All right, guys, thanks for coming on, and I look forward to crossing paths again in the future.
Awesome. Absolutely. We're planning on some really crazy stuff this year at our next trade show, so maybe you can win another prize.
That sounds good. All right, continue being awesome. So we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and we'll come back and talk a little bit about innovation and FedEx. So stay tuned.